So here it's worth glancing at the end. We're trying to solve a matrix equation, and we've got three different accounts. A savings account. So I'm going to say the amount in the savings account is S. A property bond account, I'm going to say the amount is P. And a shared dealing account. I know it starts with an S, but let's go with D here because it's not used elsewhere. And in the exam, I would actually write them down and say that's what I'm defining it to be. And we're told that Tyler invested a total of £5,000 across these savings accounts. So I can create an equation. It must be that the sum of S, P, and D is equal to 5,000. Then we're also told that Tyler invested 400 more in the property bond account than the savings account. So that means that P must equal S plus 400. But we're trying to form a matrix equation here, so I'm going to rewrite it so it's P minus S or minus S plus P. No D involved there, and that's going to equal 400. And then after 1 year, the savings account has increased in value by 1.5%. So I went with the multiplier 1.015S. That's how much is going to be left. Sorry, that's how much we're going to have now. Property is going to be 1.035p. And this one's decreased, so it's going to be 0.975 times, what was it, shared dealing, so D. I have seen in the answers them just using the multipliers like to find 1.5%, 3.5%, and 2.5%, and then setting it equal to 79, which I never really thought to do. So I'm going to stick with my way, but that would absolutely work fine as well. But I'm going to have it equal to, well, it's going to be 5,079 because I'm adding it on. So I'm going to get 1.015s plus 1.035p plus 0.975d. We've got ourselves a system of three equations, three unknowns, simultaneous equation problem, but we can use matrices to deal with this. Yeah, and then we just got to solve it. So the next step is to write it out as a matrix. So it will become 1, 1, 1 here, and then with a column matrix SPD, because when you multiply the matrix out, you'll get precisely that left-hand side, and it's going to equal 5,000. Then the next one I'll get minus 1, 1, and 0. Need to put a placeholder there. I didn't need it here. You can write it if it helps. And then 1.015, 1.035, and 0.975. Oh, I forgot the 400 here, and then 5079. Perfect. So what we can now do is, well, I could say that this here is, say, M, this is X, and I don't know, what should I call this? Q. So we've written it as mx equals q, therefore x is going to be the inverse matrix times q. We are pre-multiplying both sides by the inverse matrix. When you do that, the inverse times m just becomes the identity, and we can just ignore it. So what that means is SPD is going to equal, this is 7 marks, like it's, we're going to be using our calculator for a lot of it in a minute, so I just want to make sure I show enough working. I'm just going to write the matrix down one more time. To be fair, this feels unnecessary. And then just put a little minus 1 there. That's just really cutting them with times and by 5,000. Really trying to show what we're now about to do with our calculator. All about your calculator from this point on. So you don't need to be doing any kind of inverse matrix by hand. Just put it in your calculator, we've got all the numbers. So matrix, I'll call it A now. It's going to be 3 by 3, and type in the numbers just carefully. Good. We're going to be doing the inverse of that in a minute, but let's just define our second matrix. B, which is then going to have 3 rows but just 1 column. And that was then 5,400,5079. Okay, we're ready. Matrix calculation. You might have a different calculator than me, but it will work in a similar sort of way. So hopefully you can figure it out. Hopefully you've, of course, seen this before. This is not the first time that you've done a matrix inverse calculation on your calculator. But if it is, hopefully my steps are making sense. We're going to take matrix A now. Now to get the inverse, you do a minus. You have to do that button there. Okay, I mean, I feel like it could be a bit clearer, but that is what you do. And then we're going to times by the column matrix, back to option, matrix B. And when you get nice whole numbers, you can be really confident with your answer. If you suddenly get like horrible non-rounded numbers, I'd question it a little bit. So we can be sure about that. 1,800, 2,200, and 1,000. Now, just to finish, I probably would just like write that in words. I think I'd say 1,800 in savings, 2,200 in property bond. I think to be fair, I feel like I'd be all right as long as I defined what these were earlier, and I'd be okay. But let's just be extra safe. So 1,000 in share dealing. Okay, really nice application of matrices here. Well done.